Which of the AI is the furthest developed? Probably the Tenonto, maybe? Don't know, I can have a look at the compies though and see what's going on with them. I'm gonna fix there's a bug with the replays though that I need to look at first. I've been working on this whole other system though the last like few weeks. So I haven't really been on AI behaviour. I think they're just all gonna get released like when they're... Tenonto will come out with Gateway. And probably some others. But I need to finish this new thing before all that can really be tested. So. But they'll just get released when they're done kind of thing.
It's Amarok stream time, and you guys know what that means. Incredibly loud music and me having noise gate everything so YouTube doesn't want the video removed. Heck yeah. Yes, his music was about as loud as he was, if not louder most of the time, so getting sound in was an absolute nightmare, as usual. Anyhow, there's that. It sounds like Tenonto's going to be ready in time for Gateway, possibly a few others, which honestly I'm very, very, very much looking forward to. As for the rest of the stream, because I'm going to start going into that now, it was basically a bug fixing stream where he spent the entirety of it tweaking things, altering whatever. Like, the replay system was a huge bulk of it. And so it was watching Utah Raptor eat a frog for about an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, and I'm not going to subject you guys to that. We know how the replay system works. He was adding hotkeys for it, being able to zoom in and out properly, being able to follow things properly, basically like Legacy did. Stuff like that. Not interesting to watch, not interesting to listen to. It was an absolute slog. He touched on fish spawns and whatnot because, as we've seen, they don't spawn in the swamps and they rarely spawn in lakes, so he was fixing that. Apparently people are spawning inside of boulders inside Gateway, so we didn't get to see any of that because, as he said, he can't stream it because it's Gateway. So yeah. Now for the stuff that I can show you, he did mess around as Harrara for a bit, which, honestly, I was tempted to skip, but he did start using the calls on it, and we haven't really been able to see the calls before, so after all the jumping around he does do the calls, and I'll let that play through once the time comes. However, as you can hopefully see by the timestamp on this video, it's going to be a short one. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot to see, there wasn't a whole lot to listen to. Also, I've got this terrible headache, and I don't want to skim even closer up than I already have, so I went through the video, found what seemed relatively interesting. It was about, 4 to 5 hours of streaming? I'd have to go back and look. It was a decently long time. But got through it, and here you guys go. Originally I wasn't going to post it, but once he started doing the calls on the Harrara, I'm like, alright, I can't just do a TLDR, this is the summary of it, which was the Tenonto thing, the Gateway stuff. The stuff you saw at the start. I have to post it. So, here we go. I do really enjoy how the, what I assume is the broadcast looks. How the Harrara will shake his head and the dwibble-dwobble beneath his neck and all that fun stuff. It looks really neat. He's interesting to watch. Like, the call animations for him look pretty nice. There's a lot of, animations and poses that Harrara will do that I'm not a huge fan of. They just look awkward or unusual. But the calls do look really nice. I like them a lot. And I'm really also excited to see what the colors and patterns and stuff on Harrara are going to look like, because as I mentioned in the past, he does look a lot better in game than he did on the little pose thing they posted ages ago on the prior roadmap, which is now gone, but I'm sure you guys know the one I'm talking about. I'll probably flash it up on the screen. It shouldn't be too hard to find, but if I can't find it, then oh well. It's that old just standing in place thing that he had. His colors looked really washed out, and frankly Harrara looked bad on it, which you'd think would be the exact opposite of what you'd want on one of those things that's intended to show off the dinosaur, but that's how it was. Once he started being shown in game, he looked a lot more vibrant and a lot more interesting. When I say drab, I mean Gamma 5 and Arc version of drab. I don't mean, oh, he just looks dull and boring. I mean, he looked washed out. Like, the colors did not look appealing at all. I'm the type who, when I play a game, I don't want it to be, like, super duper bright, saturated version. Like, a lot of games seem to do that. I think Breath of the Wild, which was a fantastic game, however, the lighting in it at times did bother me because it looked very, very washed out. Other games do this. I don't play it, but I've seen, like, screenshots and videos of Genshin, and it too has the same just very, very bright, washed out look to it. It's hard to describe, but I think you guys know what I mean. If you've played Ark, you do Gamma mode, it looks like that. Everything just looks bleached. It's very, very faded and washed out. Even though it's supposed to be bright and cheery, it looks too much. But yeah, that's what Harrara looked like when I first saw him, and I was like, that's kind of ugly. Also, his model looked funky in the position they had him in, which, again, you wouldn't think would be desirable, but hey. But in-game, he looks okay for the most part. Like I mentioned, there's some poses and animations he does that look, less than ideal. And I'm very confident they're probably going to stay that way. Because, I mean, we've seen how they are. Generally speaking, what we see here is going to be what we see in the game. But he's still really cool. At his core, Herrera looks pretty neat, so I'll probably try him out when he's out. Anyhow, by now I've probably gone on long enough. I think I should be able to play the broadcast thing here after there's probably been a fair amount of gameplay playing in the background here. So let's let you guys listen to that.
That was the blend between getting up and moving. Let's see. Anyway, try and get this freaking thing to spawn. Cool sounds there. Do you get time to just play what you want? Oh yeah, all the time. I play a lot of Dota, and I play a little bit of Gem. I'm bored, I'm hanging out.
Again, as you heard, his music is up very loud. I try as hard as I can to keep it gated out so you guys can still hear the calls, but everything outside of those calls is muted, more or less. However, I can only do so much, and it does end up sounding choppy as a result, but it's how it is. YouTube, it despises more than, I think it was 7 seconds of a song playing. And so that's another reason why I have the background music going during these clips and all that other stuff. It's to try to muddy out the automatic claim stuff that YouTube has. It's an attempt. Whether or not it'll work, I don't know. I'll be leaving this video up for a few hours on its own before I actually post it, just to make sure I don't get any nastygrams in the morning, because I want to see that in my email when I get up. But hopefully it'll be fine. It's pretty choppy. I have another song playing over it. It's not continuous music playing, so I think it'll hopefully be okay. If not, I will have to edit it a lot more harshly, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. Because frankly, I don't want to put time into it right now. I am exhausted. I had to do a lot of training yesterday. I barely slept. It just goes on and on and on. That's probably why I have the headache. But anyway, the streams don't care about things like that. You do it or you perish. There's going to be other channels who already have it up by now, so you guys can go peek on over there. Some channels don't mind the nastygrams they get, or their, throwaway channels, stuff like that. So you'll probably be able to find versions of this that aren't chopped to pieces. However, that's the way I have to do it because YouTube is nasty and I don't want the channel to get any strikes or anything like that. So I do what I can. That aside, again, like I mentioned before, I do like how the animations look for his calls. I like that he uses his dewlap a little bit more and how it flares out or retracts back, stuff like that. It's very fascinating. I love what they did in that regard with Herrera. I do find it odd he sounds like a big bulky crocodile when he's an itty-bitty and nolly looking little guy, but he sounds cool. It is what it is. It's definitely unusual, and I'm probably going to mistake him for a Deinosuchus for a while because his calls have that crocodilian sound to them, that pulsing, growling, grumbling noise. Which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it is a little... it's funky. But there are some lizards and other creatures that sound a lot bigger than they are, which is the point. And for all we know, that's Harara's point. He sounds big and scary, but he's just a tiny little man just doing his best. But anyhow, that should be enough from me. I didn't show a whole lot, so I don't have to talk a whole lot. So have a great day, night, whatever time you end up seeing this, or whenever it gets posted. And goodbye!
Thank you.